Yo, VIP, let's kick it. Oh, man. Ice, ice, baby. Ice, ice, baby. All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with a brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly. Flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights and I'll glow. To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle.
Ice, ice, baby. You know, we actually tried to reach out to him to come on the show just because I want him to open up the show with that song. That's all I was really. But never happened is people turned it down. I guess he's too busy or whatever.
Yeah, it seems like a nice guy.
He seems like a nice guy, and he was in construction. I don't know if he's still in construction.
He was in construction?
Yeah, he was doing rentals in Miami until he got arrested for breaking into one of his rentals that he built, and he was stealing some stuff. I don't know the whole story about that thing, but why would you break into the house that you renovated?
Well, we do that a lot on a regular basis. No? It's like, where's the keys at? Where's the lockbox?
Yeah, technically, but we're not taking stuff. We're putting stuff. Yeah. We're bringing stuff in.
Yeah, it depends if they pay the bill or not.
And sometimes we don't get paid, exactly, and then we have to take some stuff out, man. Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking the drive. I didn't realize like you were going to just come down specifically for this.
Wasn't the plan, but...
Keep the mic closer. I'm going to need you, because I know you're a soft-spoken person, but I just want to make sure everyone hears what we have to say, so that's all. So, no, that's all good, man. I didn't mean to cut you off. Welcome, man. Upper level finishes.
Yes, upper level.
And a lot's going on in your life. Well, a lot has happened in the last few years in your life.
Definitely. It's hard to really pick a future. There's always things happening, but I kind of live life in the way like my theory of life is I go through life by feeling life. So then I always pay attention to things, and I have a direction that I kind of, and I'm putting out questions into the, so to speak, the world, and then I listen for the answers, and slowly the pieces kind of like the best line of best fit, so to speak. Like they just kind of whatever falls in place as the most the best way.
And the wife is the same?
That was kind of like you mean, is my wife the same way?
Yeah, the same mindset. I mean, obviously you guys have been married a while, so I just assume that she might be on the same kind of mindset.
She is, we're definitely different, but she does, she's an Aries, so she definitely has the fire in her too. She has been following me in the way that I was leading for the last part, but now it's turned the page where now it's her time to do her thing and to express herself and do her passion, because we're the same in terms of that she is really good at what she does, she is passionate, and she is able to stand on her own, and that's like mainly one of the main reasons that I picked her. Not picked her, but I mean, it's almost like I've been waiting for her.
You didn't pick her; she picked you.
Yeah, actually, she did. She did pick me.
You both picked each other.
She's the one that messaged me. So
okay.
So she definitely has that fire in her, and then it definitely is somebody that I need in a partner that because there's so much that I aspire to do and achieve, and I see my life to be like a very long journey, and in the way to like serve and make a change in this world. So that's what drives me. So whenever I am not, let's say, around, that I know for sure that she's going to be able to hold it together and take care of the girls and the house and everything. And if anything happens to me, that for sure she'll like, a right woman.
I've got it. I totally understand what you're talking about. Yeah. I want to let everybody know. So Evghenii.
Evghenii. Yes.
Evghenii. How do you pronounce the last name?
Dombrovschi.
Yeah, you want that's actually a little bit. It's Dombrovschi, right?
Evghenii Vyacheslavovich Dombrovschi.
Did you use every single letter from the alphabet on that one? The whole name, probably.
It's a lot of letters.
It's a lot of letters.
I usually almost never use my middle name, my dad's name. But Dombrovschi is like a famous Polish name. So there used to be the liberator of Poland. So the Dombrovschi was the general, and it was part of the Polish national anthem for quite a while. I don't remember exactly when they changed the newer version. But I've definitely spoken to some Polish people. They're like, I'd kill.
They've shared that.
I'd kill for that name.
So welcome to the show. Thanks so much. It's good to finally meet. I know we've spoken on the phone and we've DM'd, and then recently you were hanging out with Dimitri, so we're saying hello to Dimitri for a second. And I'd like to let everybody know that this show is going to kind of be a life travel path show. Like, we're going to discuss obviously your construction background, but what else is going on, and things have changed in the last few years, and I'm very respectful of people that are making these dramatic changes in their life that I think are better. Like, it's, you guys are chasing a better life is what you guys are chasing, which is important, I think, to anybody at any point in their life.
Yeah.
So it's important. Let me do a quick shout out to Ready Mix Concrete. That's who I'm wearing today. Thanks so much for the lid. But Ready Mix Concrete. And then I want to unleash your voice on the Construction Life podcast community. Are you passionate about the world of construction, trades, and all things building related? The Construction Life podcast wants to hear from you. Leave us a review, share your thoughts, insights, and experiences on your favorite podcast channel. Your review fuels our mission to create engaging and informative content for the construction community. Your feedback is the motor that holds our podcast together. Share your thoughts, rate us, and let the construction community know why the Construction Life is your go-to podcast. Visit our website and check out the nearly 500 tradespeople and construction professionals listed on the site. Connect with all of them. Check us out at www.theconstructionlife.com for additional content, behind-the-scenes exclusives, and valuable resources. Dive deeper into the construction world with articles, guest profiles, and more. Follow us on Instagram at TCL_The Construction Life. Follow us on TikTok under the same handle, and tweet us at TCL Construction. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out our link tree, and find exclusive discounts for listeners. Link is in the IG bio. Join the conversation on Facebook, the Construction Life community. Where do you want to begin? Like, how many years of construction you got going on?
I'd say 20.
20. So you started in your teens?
Yeah, high school.
High school.
Yeah.
What trade? Labor?
The hardscaping.
Hardscaping.
Yeah. Interlock. Basically, yeah, that was a funny one. Yeah.
Learn lessons?
I was the kind of, I guess, prior to that, because that was prior to that, or how to say, I was the kind of kid in school, because I came from Moldova in 2001 after 9/11. So it was Halloween, October 31st. 2 weeks prior to that, we finally got the phone call that your visa about to expire, better get your things together, and you got to come here. So we kind of just packed our bags and came. So I was 14, and that was kind of an interesting transition into Canada with the language and stuff.
Didn't know English at the time?
No, I was fully trilingual, so the Romanian, Russian, and English, because they teach you. You could have learned up to 5 languages in school. It was like Spanish, French, English. It was the 3 international. And then,
I wish they would do that here.
Yeah, it
would be beneficial for everybody.
Absolutely, it changes your mind as it works on a different level. So I was the kid that was in shop class. Basically, I was in transportation tech, which is like shop class. I'll be like welding stuff up, and
but the tables were always shorter than they needed to be. They could have been a little bit taller, right? 6 or 7 inches taller.
The tables?
The tables, the work tables, the shop tables.
I think I was making horse feeders. The shop teacher had some stuff going on the side, but I didn't really care about that. I was happy to be like
basically using slave labor, I guess.
Yeah.
While he was making a little bit of coin.
I think the funds from that was essentially feeding. It was creating more of budget for the shop to work on things.
And this is all out of Ottawa?
This is Ottawa, yeah.
Okay.
So essentially, that kind of me hanging around the construction department, and switching to construction tech. My construction teacher, started a bit of a side business, interlock, because he was into renos. As he would flip his houses. So then he got his tools from some old guy that was retiring. So he started doing interlock, and then eventually him and the math teacher became the guys. And then the third year,
so the teachers are basically starting construction businesses.
Yeah, they were doing it on the side,
which is smart.
They needed some young, more young, so they pulled me on because I was always hanging around. So I always do good work, and I was passionate about it. So he's like, "Hey, you want a job?" So he pulled me in, and this first job was like laying sod. I think I was out for 2 weeks with back pain after that one, but
no crap. I mean, how tall are you? 6 what?
Yeah, 6'4". No.
That's what I figured. All right. So yeah, and you got to be on your hands and knees. Or I guess you can't be on your hands and knees putting sod down. You got to be just bent over, which is a pain.
What was the joke? Green side up.
Yeah, that was a go-to joke for the new kid. I get it. I understand. How many years do you do that for?
I ended up doing the 5 years seasonal. So then I was mixing that with welding, and then got into welding because I was already doing it in transportation tech. But then I got a co-op, so then I got paired with a local welding shop. So then after quickly finishing my hours, I ended up getting like evening weekends kind of at the same shop, and ended up being a five year. We're back and forth where I was doing welding and hardscaping / renos.
A little mix of everything.
So it was the two companies too. And in a way that also I wanted to go into architecture and civil engineering, but my course was there wasn't enough students applying for that one,
so they couldn't fill it.
So it wasn't, and my other ones were like HVAC or furniture tech.
What's furniture tech?
Furniture tech is
like designing furniture, or
no? You build. You're basically, they teach you joinery, and you're building hand furniture. It's Algonquin College in Ottawa. But
HVAC, nah.
Yeah, neither one of them. Well, there was also flying. I wanted to be a pilot too, but then obviously there's not a lot of funding for that, and it's pretty expensive. So I never really went that route. But what ended up happening is because the school wasn't, I would have ended up in architecture, but because they shut down the program, opportunity came up where both of the guys, one from the welding, the other one from the interlock and the home renos, they wanted me to take over as be the guy.
Be their guy.
Yeah.
Because you had the skills for it.
Yeah. So I ended up picking the welding at the end. And then that kind of like didn't last too long and turned sideways. The guy had some gambling problems. And
the teacher?
No, that was an old guy. He was like
guy.
65 almost. Basically, he was at the end, and he wanted to pass on. He just wanted to do estimating and for me to do all the shop work and handle the shop, basically.
Don't all gambling problems start with Gambling Solutions?
Is that a company?
I don't know. It just seems like it's always gambling problems, but they all come from something, so they must think they're solutions in the beginning.
Yeah.
So then they get into problems. But okay, so that's entertaining. But then you learned, so you had a crash course, a bunch of stuff at the very beginning.
Yeah. So I was actually, we opened a new company when I started the welding shop, and then we got a truck, we got things, and after the gambling thing, I kind of just left. But he kept using the truck, and eventually he had some fight or whatever with the dealership, and they ended up dropping the truck there because he was pissed, and then it ended up affecting my credit because he didn't care about it anymore. His girlfriend was the co-signer, but basically because I didn't have too much credit history, like messed me up, where they wouldn't even give me a overdraft on my debit card. Like my credit was.
You were just flagged.
Yeah, so that took some time before my credit was rebuilt, or I had a decent job again, and then they ended up giving me a card, and then that's when I started treating credit much better. But so basically rebuild. I remember the bank guy like laughing at me when he saw me.
Because of the situation that these guys put you in.
Yeah, it kind of got screwed on that one, but it's.
Joining the ranks of tens and tens of thousands of satisfied doll customers allows you to experience the doll difference firsthand. You can trust in the quality and the durability of their products, backed by a company with a long-standing reputation for excellence. With Doll, you're not just purchasing a great product, but you're also gaining a reliable partner that is committed to your success. Check out Doll at www.dollvalve.com and on social at dollvalve.
It's good lessons, you know. It's not ideal, but it's stuff that happens. And then what was
from there you go in there? But I guess my question to you right now is like, has there been a given time in your history of, I guess, employment? Because you started very young, like all of us do. We all start early. There's no such thing as child labor these days. If you're European, you come. It's just the moment you can carry something, you start working. It's simple as that. Yeah. But as in any given time in your years of working, are you ever just dealing with one thing, or are you always dealing with several things at one time? I get the sense that you're probably working on this and working on this and working on this at the same time.
Having a harder time understanding what you mean as far as career.
You're juggling so much.
Oh,
you're totally juggling so much.
It was more like grabbing for opportunities, and then I guess I really like working with. I always liked working with my hands. I guess that came from my grandfather, because it's would be. I mean, you're from. Whenever you're in Europe, it's like people do their own stuff. They don't. You go build a fence. You go.
You don't want to hear about how much it costs to buy that when you could just make it.
Yeah, for if you're from. So we'd have like cottages, or my grandfather, he had they had this little plot of land that they would get their vegetables. I'll be the climb the tree, because then you don't want to break the branches, so turn the soil for the potatoes, and then dig out the outhouse, and then build the outhouse with the grandfather. Go chop some wood. That was probably
how it is my favorite. And was that's how it is, right?
Yeah. So those moving some stone around or whatever, just watching my grandfather or with my uncle or whatever they're doing. All that kind of handiwork has transitioned into the love of creation, of building something. And my grandfather was also an architect, a military lawyer and prison warden in Siberia, and a colonel, and very good role model. Like definitely one of those top guys.
That's a pretty thick CV there. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So then there's a lot of that love transition, and I always love to, even as a kid, and whenever I did have my own, I would pick up a chunk of wood, and then we didn't have too many, I guess, toys or whatever. So like, let's play baseball. So like carve some half bat out of with a dull knife, and like get scars in my hands from like slipping and
no lathe, right? You're whittling this thing is what you're doing.
I think they started teaching lathe, and I think that was grade 6, because in Moldova they still teach you industrial. So like metallurgy was grade 7. I left in grade 7, and then I skipped 2 years. So I was in grade 9 when the education system was way better there.
Yeah.
So I ended up skipping 2 years when I came to Canada, because it was repetitive. But they start teaching you wood shop, and then the women, I guess, they do sewing and baking. But for the guys, it was legitimate. Like you're at grade 5 and 6. Grade 5, you're learning wood shop, and then in grade 6, you're already on the lathe.
Is it still like that 7. Now today? The education, it's still like that, right? If not, it's improved.
Because you're getting pushed into the workforce. To service, to repair, to make, to create. I mean, I guess it's a little bit behind maybe in terms of, but there's still a demand. So if you're not good with the computers, you're going to be good with your hands.
Yeah. We'll find out real quick which one you're good at.
Yeah. Those things, the lathes were a bit scary. I don't know if, especially now watching some of the
For
videos.
a preteen, yeah, I would say that's pretty scary.
Yeah. Could definitely get dangerous pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, that lots of that transition. I definitely enjoyed welding a lot. It's very peaceful. When you put the mask down and you hear the little buzzing and
Get into the groove.
you're getting your almost like polishing your shoes, because I was in Air Cadets too, so that was like doing the little circles or the patterns was very like already built into my muscle memory, my hands. So my welds were almost like perfect. And at one point we tried to go out west for a pipeline. But the problem is the guy never had me on payroll. It was all under the table.
Oh, it was all okay.
So they're like, "Hey, where's your hours?" I was like, that didn't count. So that was one of the reasons, kind of like fully shifting from that. And once I left the welding guy, I ended up doing into commercial, so high rise reno, working for a GC.
Commercial jobs.
But it was because I was on the GC side. We were more like sweeping, moving tiles, repair some T-bar.
Boring stuff.
Yeah,
But I guess it got you experience to build stuff.
it was nice to start so early in the morning, because I'd be there at like 5:30, and then it'd be done at like 2.
In the
so then
afternoon.
have like
Then you're gone.
the rest of the day.
You beat rush hour both ways.
And then you have the rest of the day to do. It's almost like you have a second life. It was a nice.
How many years did you do that for?
That didn't last too long because it was boring.
It was boring.
It was nice. It was definitely a nice experience to see that side of construction, because up to that point I never had. I definitely wouldn't mind working in that kind of aspect if I get more back into handling. Let's say if I wanted to be an electrician, then it would be more high end, or the commercial side. I would definitely prefer high rise kind of work.
This would have been what, your mid-20s?
Early
20s?
Early to mid-20s.
Okay.
Just before, or this is around like 2010. Yeah, just after the recession there. The recession.
It would have been 2009, 2010, 2011.
2009, I guess.
Yeah, everything started getting a mess, and then we weren't too bad here. U.S. was bad. Now it's the flip, and then from there, where do you go?
From there, I had through like networking, I got a job at a trim shop. That was Canada Trim in Ottawa. It's like a big shop. So they did mostly all high rise or like Urbandale, Mattamy.
Like pre-hung stuff, like
yeah, so
prefabricated stuff.
Yeah, making the U-channel systems.
Yep.
And then I think that's what I started on, is cutting the pieces. Then I migrated into packing the long stuff for loading the trucks. And then there was like door card assembly. So you assemble the houses. So you just walk around and everything is pre-machined. You're pulling off. You have your take off. You just stack this cart. They can wrap it together with all the frames and everything on it for the whole house. And then they throw that on the truck. And then whoever's packing the long stuff, they have that on a big A-frame cart that they have individually set up for the loose stuff. And then when the drivers show up, they would load up all their base case, drop all the spare pieces, and they throw the doors on top. So there was a lot of that for like 3 years, where I had various, a little bit of mill work. Then I had some.
Were you mostly in the shop, or were you on site too?
No, I never had site experience until, I guess, layoff time. They would do that a bunch. So they laid me off because I had a habit of not showing up on time. but I was always such a good worker that I was the guy that would show up late, but then I would never leave until the job was done.
What was the cause of the habit of showing up late all the time?
Whenever you're like younger, I guess, or
You went out for a little bit too long.
I sleep really well, it's I definitely like being in bed, but that's always been like a thing. But they always love. I'm the problem solver. I got the perfectionist, the guy that stays late and does everything. So it's like it was really hard to
let you go.
Yeah, and I never really like asked for. I was never really a problem other than that. So it was mirror shop was another thing, and then the pre-hung. So it'd be the guy assembling all the doors for a bit too. So those were all kind of interesting things. Millwork always was an aspect that I wanted to jump into, but they had two old guys up there that really knew what they were doing, and then there was no to put me in there didn't really make sense. They had their own Portuguese. Oh, this is Portuguese shop too. Classic wood molding. So
I had nothing to do with it. But okay, so you do that for a few years, and then you basically get laid off, and now you're on your own looking for work.
I did a little bit of like back finish. So like started. There was like this apartment building that they turned a school into condos. So they added on
doing a bunch of those now. Well, we don't need schools; we need condos.
It was a really like three story school. They put an addition on, and they made it into like a modern, almost like loft style unit.
How many units?
They left the concrete floor on the main floor.
It like they sealed it. That's all.
Yeah, so they sealed. That was a disaster to trying to put shoe molding in that because you have your hospital like
exactly.
So that was
because it was never poured to be perfect.
Yeah. So that was, imagine trying to like make that shoe molding fit. Anyways, that was
so more lessons being learned.
Yeah, I was pretty slow at that because I was like too much of a perfectionist. But eventually my speed built up. Then they went into sales a little bit. That door-to-door aeration.
You got into that as well.
Remember
because you're going back into the landscaping world, I guess.
I think it was Spring Masters.
Okay.
It was called, and then there was. I think the company switched to Property Stars. Ben Stewart, the world kickboxing champion. I don't know how many times.
Okay.
I think for the 20 years, but he owns it. It was a great company because I really developed a lot of sales.
People skills.
So door to door. So it's it's tough to make a sale when somebody opens the door, and then they're doing whatever they're doing, and you're trying to sell them something. They don't want to see your face. So like I'm doing whatever I'm doing. So it's the physical aspect was fun because. I think I put on 30 pounds in a month and a half.
So walking door to door actually helped a little bit.
I'm pushing this heavy machine with the spikes. It's full of water, and then you're constantly as you go back and forth, you're lifting, switch the bar, flip it around, drop it again, and go, and
I remember
back and forth. And the sun. I think I took some creatine back then. And then with everybody feeding me water, it's like, yeah, it's hot today, so like a school bag full of water. So nothing. I guess it was a lot of water weight. And then
what was the first lesson that you learned regarding the people and connecting and door knocking and interrupting their lives trying to sell something?
I guess you build up like people don't really want to deal with you, so it's mainly it's the product and the service, first of all, has to be already great, because then how are you going to BS yourself through selling something that's not actually... So first of all, the product is good, and it is good. Aeration is like, golf courses do it 2-3 times a year.
Yeah.
So for sure, it's something that's great. So it was more of like selling yourself, because then it's not the services, they have to buy it from you. So it's not the next guy or not tomorrow or the another day. It's like, I'm here today, and I'm here providing the service, and then you kind of have to there was a lot of room for you to make whatever you want. So that they give you, like, you gotta sell it for a minimum this much, and then you have so there was a bit of teaching. You gotta find your way. It was interesting how other guys would find their way in selling it. The different little story or the little speeches and things that they would do. But
so it started the day everybody got together. They all got their machines. Then they all rode out to the neighborhoods that they needed to go to.
You get dropped off, and you get your team leader or whatever, and then if you run out of gas, he'll come. We give a call, come by, fill you up, check on you, and then. But basically, you have a couple of streets that you go up and down, and a few of them are already sold. So at the beginning of the season, you'd have a few places to do. So that helped for sure at the beginning because the sales already made. But as you progress, you definitely find your groove, your way, and then smile, positive. You definitely. The biggest thing is building up the library of excuses, so then you have to have the answer for every problem.
Don't miss out on huge savings. Visit goiguide.com/shop and use promo code TCL podcast to get deep discounts on an iGuide system. Everyone loves swag, and I love giving it away. So if you're listening and you're interested in learning more about iGuide, shoot me an email, rjohnston@planetar.com, or a message on LinkedIn, and I'll send you free swag just for saying hello. I've got free t-shirts and toques, and I can't wait to give them away. I've also got special offers for TCL listeners, so it's worth your time to reach out.
But it was the first time that you were actually getting a chance to speak directly to a potential client.
Yeah. Sales. So that's where like sales basically.
But I like that you just said that it's coming up with how many excuses they can come up with, so you can have the best responses for all those excuses.
Exactly. Yeah. So
and it got you forward. It got you a sale
because you definitely knew after time. But what was it? It's not just the excuses because it's also reading people.
Yeah, body language. Because
it's body language. It's all these hidden things that it's not about words. It's about you already know that they're not comfortable or whatever the excuses are. There's the telltale signs that you kind of understand and you build up, and then you already know you got the sale, not the sale. But it wasn't. It was like I would almost get a buddy buzz, like in terms of I would already know if it's good or not.
So you were sizing up the homeowner based on the home, looking at some of the parts of the home that gave you some ammunition to kind of use in your sale.
Yeah.
Here are the benefits of doing this. And this is how I feel that, maybe you're just too busy and you don't have the time, but this is something you should consider twice a year, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Sometimes I have fun with it, and lots of guys would have fun with it too. But I definitely wasn't a top seller guy, but because they try to tell you to do all these things, and then you kind of, I'm not all about that, like feeding BS to somebody.
The sales tactic stuff. I know, I get it.
But
I totally understand.
And then we got into asphalt sealing in the second part of the season, so that was a whole other thing that was fun.
Same time that you're doing the aerating, you're doing asphalt sealing as well?
No, that's afterwards. So they finished, and then they'll have these. I think I don't know what the solution was like in terms of in the tank, but basically it was a big steel cart with heavy duty 1,000-pound wheels on it, and an engine. So then you have your sprayer, and you go to door, and then you're selling. You have some cardboard with you to create like little flaps and some tape, so you can a blower and some crack filler, and then you're essentially this. I think I got dropped off a few times just with the cart myself. So you have to go and push this like couple of 1,000 pounds down the asphalt.
Uphill, downhill.
A few times it was uphill. So it was definitely a good exercise by that point.
How many guys were working? Like, how many were there of you?
A lot. This is across multiple cities.
Yeah.
This is Toronto, Ottawa. He's all the way up in like Vancouver. I don't know if he's going to start anything in U.S., but recently he's moved down there too. He's part of Wealth Genius, which is the newest thing that I'm doing. So that was definitely like a big. I tried to do it the next year, but I didn't have it in me anymore. I knew that it wasn't something that you really make a lot of money on, because it's not predictable. It was pure commission. Like you
Yeah, so
you
it's
show
difficult. Yeah, you don't know how the market's going to react to you.
you show up, and you actually could end up owing money at the end of the day, because you're paying a rental for the equipment. So you could be owing $10, and then whatever your food and everything through the day. But you could also had high potential. So some of these guys were really good at sales. So they were hitting all the bonuses, and they're making like $500, $600, $1,000 a day.
Was there more money in the asphalt sealing than the aeration?
Yes, because it was commission based.
Okay.
And then once you hit bonus, you get like a hat or something, like a certain level, and then you get automatically a fixed commission.
Okay.
From there on. It was rated like the best like college summer job, because it's for the students. They had the ability to push themselves, be in charge, and to achieve a level of their own. So I guess that it's not just the sales with this company. It was also that you had you're almost like a business. You go out there and then you hunt. Yes, the customers are there, but it's door-to-door sales. You have the equipment, but it's ultimately up to you. You're responsible for your own.
But I guess like only a select few understood the business lessons that were attached to that. And most of them were probably just thinking, I'm walking down another street, going to another person, trying to sell this thing, when there's actually opportunity here to learn for the future, right?
Yeah. I guess I always look deeper into things. So it's not, it really depends on individual people. There's a lot of people dropped off. The thing he also bypassed was that you were hired and fired each day.
Yeah, for sure you were. Well, that's construction.
No, in terms of that was like, they just at the end of the day is like, when's your next day? And then you would book your next day in the schedule whenever you're working, but it bypassed having to track any kind of finances.
Too much uncertainty. So from there you go where?
From
you do
there,
that for a couple of years or just 1 year?
From there, I think there was, where did I go from there? I think I got hired at Classic Wood Molding. I was waiting, I did some welding at Classic Wood Molding for their paint racks. My friend got hired there after Canada Trim. So when I joined Canada Trim, I brought all my friends in. I was the first one, and then I brought my friend in. He brought his brother, and then his father-in-law, and then their other friend, and then other friends. So I was like,
why not? Do it.
I ended up staffing half, because that was a good work. I was like, hey, you got any good friends? So, but he was in sales, and then he was getting like the pick of the worst of the worst, which is like renos, when they have to fit in doors into existing frames. So you have to a piece here, a piece there. Like, it was, as far as a commission based for him, it wasn't much, and it was a total headache. So he switched. He tried to go back to school, and I ended up actually working at Classic Wood Molding, getting a job there. And then he pulled me, and that's how I got into Classic Wood Molding. They needed some welding done, so since I was a welder, I ended up repairing some of their paint racks, and then they built a few new ones. It's like, oh, these are like, they were using soft aluminum L channel to hold like trim, and then they were just like bent down when when there was a little bit of force. So I ended up re-engineering their paint racks and making them more rigid, and stick welding like a couple of full in the middle of summer too. And whenever they ended up having one of their guys was slacking a bit, they ended up getting him go, and then that was essentially next in line after a proper interview process. Still, they brought me in because I had a lot to bring to the table through all my knowledge, but primarily it was the door section, because at Canada Trim, whatever I've learned at Classic, they didn't really have too much of a door section, or they did before, but then they try to revamp it again. So that's where I came on to primarily be the pre-hung guy. So then they started making all my jigs and assembling, taking care of that so that it would be ready to go, either knockdown or pre-hung frames.
And that's what you were responsible for, or that you just took it upon yourself?
Yeah, that was pretty much me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be other guys that there was a door machine that they would produce knockdown kits, but for me it was more to and you fine tune and you custom stuff. But with Classic, it was an interesting. Classic is probably the best one that I've worked for. There is Classic molding in Toronto.
Yeah, there is one. Yeah.
They primarily sell poplar, but in Ottawa there's three stores, and it's more of a family business. And you get like a little bit of profit sharing. There is contribution to your RSP. They have
The Ottawa stores.
Team events.
Okay.
They're kind of
The
combined.
business itself. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of combined. And it's currently now the brother and the sister that are doing it. And then Sean is more the owner or the brother. So he's handling operations, and then his sister is handling the office. But it is more of a forward trying to meet the market, but they're definitely tailored to giving good service, more of the customer relations, and if you need any custom stuff, custom milling, they
will help you.
They
there.
keep up with that.
How many years were you there for?
3.
3 years.
They didn't have an installation section or a crew, so that's something they don't offer. There's no installation, which is interesting for a trim shop.
Buying it.
It's a lot of contractors.
Contractors are buying
a lot
it.
of contractors and homeowners, DIY, whatever. So that it will be like on and off the shelf, which their dad was an accountant and an Olympian, cross country Olympics. He's the one that actually did a lot of the trails in Gatineau.
Really?
When he was working for Parks Canada. So that was like my boss, and
wow.
One of the first things that he said when I was welding those racks, he's like, "Don't sell yourself short." And that was like a bit of a sentence that kind of stuck with me for quite some time, and he is in a way responsible for me being able to jump into the doing the trim as a business, because I mentioned how my credit was kind of shot, and finally when I started building it up again, as I started in the SIR, like a Civic SIR, was my car, and then when I started doing the side jobs, because after having some experience installing, and I was working at Classic with molding, I started sharing with the homeowners, like, "Oh, put it this way, do it that way." And then one guy was like, "Why don't you just come and do it for me?" I was like, "I got no tools." So that ended up it was crown molding. So ended up going and investing in the chop saw, the DeWalt 780, with the stand, and I think the nail gun I bought used with a Makita compressor and like a short hose. A couple of basic tools. So essentially, I invested in it and took out my passenger seat, throw the saw there, put the big stand through the back, and that's how I kind of like.
It's not a very big car, man, to begin with.
But it lasted. It took me like 2 years, and I think I blew something on it because it started sounding like a Subaru. I think I was driving on 3 cylinders. Mm-hmm. The compressor went on it, so. Eventually, I decided to take it seriously, and that was the transition where I went shopping for
a better saw.
I went to a Subaru. I went to a Subaru Legacy.
Okay,
and then
which you have all the backspace is good.
Yeah, it was great. It was a tank. I love that car. And then somebody hit me, and then they ended up being written off. So then I took the insurance money and whatever else I had saved up, and that's when I was like, I'm gonna get a van. Like, so I went for a Honda Odyssey. It was like 7-8 years old, and when I went for the financing, it was gonna be like something really ridiculous. It would have doubled the cost of my van, and I remember I was so mad
because of the credit history in the back.
I was like glowing so red that I could feel like the heat.
Okay.
And then I remember telling that to the son, to Sean, and then he went and talked to his dad, and I guess they gave me a personal loan with garnishing wages,
Oh, yeah,
like a
garnishing
little
wages,
bit
yeah.
until.
That's nice of them.
Yeah, that totally that totally changed things for me, and I paid that off in 6 months. I have pretty much had almost half the car, and then with them giving me like a loan, also the option was if I paid it early, it would be like no interest.
Okay, we'll get back to the interview in a second, guys. But if you haven't already signed up for Phil, you should do it now. The marketplace is free and full of great listings. Find closer sites and make soil reg compliance easy. Phil's load tracking blows the competition away. It's a good-looking and simple app. You get a real-time view of all your sites, hauls, and trucks right in your pocket. What if the other guy doesn't have Phil? No problem. They can sign up and send or receive the first truck in 5 minutes. No sales calls or IT guys needed. You can also invite other companies to join your hauls, like engineers, landowners, or even municipalities. Tracking doesn't require drivers to do anything, and there's a 14-day free trial. I bet you can move a lot of dirt in 14 days. Sign up for free on the website at www.getphil.app. That's www.getphil.app. You can also search Phil in the App Store.
So it was almost like a zero.
It's a sweet deal. I wish the Canadian banks would do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're not going to do
so
that.
that was so amazing that I paid that off with essentially side jobs. So all my money went towards like tools, like back in the business. So whatever money I'd make, it would either get more gas, or get more tools. And
Where were you getting all the work from? Was it a combination of your own word of mouth and
Classic
then also
was-
classic? Okay, classic most of it. All right.
Because there was no like, I guess I would tend to keep my customers. So
But you opened up a whole new division for them now, because now whenever they had clients come in or contractors, we need a guy.
they never really, they saw it as a liability and something that would potentially push clients away. Because then if their customer walks in and then you have an installation division, potentially you could,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
So they never, they saw it as it's the way because the guy was an accountant, all his numbers was, don't get into all this like stuff, just what makes me the most money. Even like doing the doors was the biggest thing that they never really wanted to get into, because doors don't make money. The material makes money, but physically handling and doing the process doesn't really. It's something you have to bring along with your other material simply so you can satisfy the customer.
When you break it down at an accounting perspective,
Yeah.
the cost of the profit that they make on selling the material versus the profit that you make on installing the material, they don't line up.
It's almost every. That was the same scenario for Canada Trim, for pretty much any supply.
Yeah.
As soon as you can take it off even better if you don't even put it on the shelf. If it lands, the skid lands and then it's gone.
Right from the flatbed of the truck right into the contractor's truck.
You're making that's your biggest profit. But in order to sell the doors, you have to now go to the site. You have to measure everything and then do the takeoff. And now you have
the line item. I know.
Then you need X amount of shop space. Now you have to produce. Now you have to like assemble these door orders separate, nice, and then you have to ship it. And then you get door damage. You have a lot of things involved.
So how many years did you do the installs for?
I gave myself a 5-year kind of like a time frame, or over 5 years, because as you know, like businesses fail after 5 years. So then I gave myself the 5 years head start by doing side jobs and building my customer base. But after like 3 years, 2-3 years, that's when I switched to Wycroft Trim, or Pine Valley, I guess is known. It's in Toronto here too.
Okay.
So they opened. They had their division. They got the warehouse and the. For the Ottawa division, the general manager, he was my boss for install, because I installed the trim for 8 months in custom homes with him, and that's where I kind of picked up some of my skill. So he ended up being the general manager for Ottawa, and then he brought me on as the shop foreman. But when I showed up, it was empty. It was just It was one plug on the wall, and it was one empty
And
warehouse.
that was the shop.
Yeah, that was the shop, and then I ended up bringing some of my tools, and then slowly material started coming in. I was the only guy working there. As far as like material comes in, organize some of the orders, and then load out the truck and go. So the first like 4 or 5 months, whatever custom stuff needed to be done, I would work on that. Did ship majority of it, but a few items for service, stuff like that. Eventually I got a helper, and then both of us did a bit of, and then we finally got a delivery guy. So we're almost behind the ball the whole time, so it was always like crazy hours, trying to figure things out and build the shop. So there was all this, eventually construction came in.
You're working like every day?
It was,
Pretty much.
I remember I did that for 2 years. And then essentially I needed to do it because I did my first house was a pre-construction purchase. So I had, because you need your history or employment. I couldn't quit my job because otherwise I would never get the house closed. So I was stuck in almost like torture land until it was done. Even after we moved in, it was still in escrow. And then I still had to wait like an extra 3-4 months until they finished our block completely for me to switch. And then eventually I opened the corporation and then launched because I didn't see saw the money going down pretty quick. So I was like, this, either I'm going to be working 7 days a week, evenings, weekends for some time just to kind of support everybody, or I got to take the step now. So then it was a scary step, but then I jumped and I opened the corporation.
And that was Upperlevelfinishes.
Yeah, Upperlevelfinishes.
And that was how long ago?
2017.
Okay.
I was supposed to go with Blake. Remember Blake? Blake.
Oh, Blake. I remember Blake. Yeah.
Yeah, he came to see you.
That's right.
That's how I started following you. Is because
Yeah. Blake came to see me. Yeah, when I was doing the job there, and we got talking. Okay,
Yeah,
and you guys were going to partner?
Yeah, with his experience, and I like the idea of full construction.
He's fishing most of the time these days.
Yeah, he's doing great. He's doing really well now, actually, because he's with his brother.
Yeah.
And they're doing their own thing, so they're doing super well. But I ended up getting a truck, and then we were supposed to kind of like go together, but I don't remember what happened. He just went his own way, other opportunities. So I just stuck to the trim stuff. I tried different things at the beginning. I think I had a basement reno, kitchen reno. I tried to do some cabinetry installs because trim wasn't paying. I was competing at such low price points that it wasn't.
Nobody wanted to give you $1. Is that what it was, or they just wanted an okay job?
Well, I was taking on the job based on square footage, and
It's just hard to price it that way, right?
so then it's really up to you, up to me to make it happen for that price point, which is very common. But eventually, when I jumped back into it, it's like, no, I'm gonna do trim. That's the best thing that I like to do because I don't want to handle all these trades and babysit. I wanted to actually that was my highest best use. Then I revamped 2 years later my company, and I set my own price. Like, this is what I'm going to charge after reading the, what was it called? Profits for contractors.
Right, yeah.
Profits
Okay.
first.
Profits for contractors.
Then I redid all my numbers, and then I figured it out, and then essentially almost 40% increase in my price point. So then I was at such a price point, the price point didn't make sense. Like I was in my own.
You weren't profitable.
I was in my own bubble in terms of my price point.
Were you always working by yourself?
Yeah.
So you never brought on anybody?
No.
Didn't want to be the educator?
No, it's. I think it's when you're in the custom. My goal was, after reading that book and resetting my system in 2019, so 2 years later, my goal was to hit a certain number and then keep it up So then if that was the case, then I could replace myself with 2.5 people, part-time office, and then 2 installers.
I get it.
And I could take
Yeah.
either one of the positions or whatever I could fill in. But if that it never hit the numbers, it would never work because I would just fail. So they never really, I never ended up hitting it because COVID happened. So I was doing well, and my numbers almost were doubling.
It was growing. But
yeah.
then even during the COVID bullshit years, everybody was thriving. Everybody was doing well. A lot of people were doing well, but
Yeah.
other stuff was going on as well, too.
I also went through a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I broke my leg and crashed my van, and
I remember that, yeah.
since then I broke my leg again too.
Again?
Yeah,
From what?
just running. I hit it a little too hard there, and I guess runners, it's common for runners to break their legs just from the impact. And I mean, me being
Taller.
last May, I was probably like 225.
That's a lot of force.
And it was also cold, and I hit my running schedule. I hit it hard because I was trying to do.
I need you to get into water rowing, man. Like a little more less impact.
I was trying to get that. What was it called? The newer one that they turned the water rower into like a game.
They have a screen now. They've added a screen. All they did
Yeah.
was just, I think you could actually modify my current one, but I didn't need that there. But it's just, what I liked about it is there's no impact on any joints or anything like that, right? That's what when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, I used to run, I used to cycle.
Mm-hmm.
It eventually just takes a toll on your body, right? And then I gave it up.
But I think it fixed it. So when my leg broke, I think it fixed it because it was slightly off.
Oh, okay.
So then now it's
Well,
good.
the break makes it stronger, so the bones are stronger technically.
They actually didn't. They told me it's not broken. So
So was it a fracture?
they didn't see the fracture. It was such a small hairline that their X-ray, they didn't look hard enough, so they didn't see it. So I was like, okay, I guess they're like, just go rest. So I went back to the job site, and then it was
With the Chewbacca boot on or no?
nothing. Just
Nothing on.
I was in pain. So then I called other guys on the homeowner. So I got the homeowner, and then I called a friend in to kind of help me finish. This was just before the vacation, and on the plane, my leg like swelled like almost double.
Pressure.
I landed, and then I rested for a few days. Then it was still like something. I thought maybe there was. I was trying to get a ultrasound to see maybe there's soft tissue damage, and then they're like, "No, let's do another X-ray." And when they did the X-ray, you could definitely see, like it was separated. My bone was actually.
So there was a crack.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, you can't walk no more. You gotta here's the boot. Here's some crutches." And so I stayed at home and whatever. Yeah.
And when was that? That was
This is in May.
yeah.
Yeah, this is in May. But it healed incredibly well. There was a bunch of pills that my mom has that I did last time too. My leg healed really fast too. And this time, essentially like capped over and healed. They were going to do like plates.
What are the magic pills? You want to share? Are they
Mel-
from back home?
Melaleuca. You know the Melaleuca? Melaleuca is like a wellness company, and then they have all this line. Essentially, there's men's and women's vitamins.
Yeah.
So you have the Pro Complex. You have AM, PM, but it's like a bomb of vitamins. They're just like, it's about $200 a month.
But it targets, and so you can heal
like,
faster.
Like you feel great, but it's like I only do it whenever something. Like so, last time I was sick, so then I did 2-3 months of it.
Natural.
This time it broke, and then I was like, okay. So as soon as I did it, like it healed, it fused on its own. They were gonna give me plates and screws, and then it was gonna take like 6 months, and then more. It was gonna be a disaster.
You're paying the
if
ass
they-
to get through the airports, man.
If
No.
Yeah, so I was like, for sure, I'm not doing any of that. So good thing that I healed. So there's a nice like calcified cap over.
So now you're super strong. You can continue running, and then, but hang on a sec. That's the one leg,
Yeah, this is both.
but the other leg is weaker now,
Yeah.
or not as strong.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't break. I definitely don't want it to be breaking.
No. So that's what's interesting is during the whole course of your life here is that like the last 5 years has been interesting, but that takes you to your next journey.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah. The next journey is essentially jumping ship. Jumping ship.
The Canadian ship,
Going to Barbados.
the family and all.
The Barbados, the Caribbean. My wife is originally from Barbados. She came to Canada. I was
When
wondering.
did she come to Canada?
She studied in Canada before, in Toronto, and she went back, and she's been visiting Canada a few times, and essentially we met in Christmas Eve 2015.
Christmas Eve?
Yeah,
Family function or something?
No, it was online.
Okay.
Been doing online since I was like 18, I guess.
Contractors, it's time to empower your business with Shelta Tech implementation. Shelta is offering a free meeting to tackle your biggest pain points head on. Their goal, to develop a custom company app that's built just for you. Solving your pain points, streamlining your processes, making your workday smoother. Here's the scoop. There's a $15,000 digital adoption grant available, and Shelta is an expert at helping you secure it. This isn't just funding, it's your stepping stone into a new era of digital efficiency. By your second meeting, you'll get a tailor-made company playbook, a software prototype designed with your input, project tracking, real-time budget management, and daily logs all integrated into a single app. It's tech that works for you, not the other way around. Shelta isn't just offering tech, they're offering transformation. Join the community of 93 subcontractors who have already stepped up their game with Shelta Tech. 2 meetings, countless opportunities. Ready to make a move? Visit shelta.app. Let's pave the way to a smarter, tech-driven future. Shelta Technology, custom tech solutions for the modern contractor.
So it was an interesting period for surrounding when we met, but essentially I was ready to like focus on myself and didn't really think of getting into anything serious. And I don't know, it's like as soon as I started talking to my wife, it's like it seemed like it was the person that I always knew. Like it's almost like I've always been waiting for her to, like that was exact. Like it was when you know, so as they say. And I just missed her. She just came. She was in Canada. She was in Ottawa, and then she was like 3 weeks or a month, and I just missed her by a few days.
So when did you book the flight to Barbados?
Well, she came back.
Oh, she came back. You didn't go there?
She came back in March, mid-March or closer to end of March, and we ended up getting married. From the talking from the end of December to March, lots of talking. Oh yeah. And then she comes here from March, and you guys end up getting married when? March 24th. The same month that she comes back? Yeah, she came for 12 days, and then within that period, we got married. City Hall, yeah. Wow. Yeah, it was a quick thing, nothing, but it's almost like within the week of starting to talk, we already kind of knew, and then we lined up another like meeting, and then she came to see me. So yeah, it was magic, and then she left to get her things in order. To move to Canada, become a Canadian citizen. She was trying to come and to switch from the island, because it's like some people definitely become a bit claustrophobic, or like they feel that there's more to life, so they need to like move ahead and escape. It doesn't have to be an island, but anywhere could be your city, your small town, or whatever. So she definitely was trying to professionally switch to Canada using her profession, but I guess it was taking some time. I guess I, in a way, took the opportunity. I was like, hey, let's just
go there.
let's get married, and this will be like the easier way for you to switch. So we just kind of went for it, and she closed all her stuff and came to Canada, and that was 2016, and I guess she's tried different things in her profession, but it's totally different climate, so it hasn't really been the best. Because here like dental hygiene, you get paid hourly, but in Barbados it's commission based. So then it's the pay your pay gap, or like your pay volume is way way different. Plus the regulations here are a lot stricter as Canada is with everything. It's wasn't as pleasant, and with the driving and stuff with the girls, coordinating everything, and then me having a business, I didn't have too much. I need to be more on the tools, and so it's like so much hard to like regulate. So it's primarily me being the provider and majorly, and then her more being like stressed. So it wasn't like balanced. But I mean, it's in the last period, it became clear that why I actually opened the business in the first place, because it was to serve a purpose, and then the purpose was to achieve a point, or to fuel life faster than I can work for it. So like,
I get it.
So it was just the next step. I maxed out my ability to earn being in the shop, or being in the shop plus doing side jobs, even though that was probably the best time.
You needed more days, more hours to...
I wanted to be at home.
Yeah.
So the business essentially provides... so starting a business is not something an easier way out. Starting a business is... it's when you're way above and you're limited. So like having a job with anybody, whoever owns the business as employees, as they pay a wage, it's not an employer's responsibility to give you a life that you desire. You're an employee, they're gonna make money. So if you want to achieve things, for you, the only way for you to do that is to go and get it yourself.
Yeah.
So to be an employee, that's one thing, but if it's not enough, there's in no way that an employer is going to give you those dollars. So,
but today's generation expects that.
Yeah, and I think knowing what I've been through and like what I've achieved, I think I was happier, or the best time was when I had a side hustle and then I was working, because then there was a guaranteed base income, and then you have your
plus the extra,
your honey on the side,
moving you forward, right?
Yeah. Then you get to invest and grow and save.
Who was it? Was it you, or was it her that first came up with the idea about leaving Canada and taking the family and going to Barbados now and having a life there?
It's her. She always had like the goal of. She was almost on the verge of, or her next steps in Barbados were to buy a place. So as she was working and then kind of like things just happen. I came along, or life happened between, and she dropped everything, came to Canada, and then we did get the house, and then the second house, using the corporation. So I leveraged the corporation to achieve the second property. But her personal goal wasn't satisfied in terms of having that home. So now it became the possibility when they went on a vacation after COVID, almost like an escape, because there was like so much going on here. Then the environment that we're in Canada is just so everybody's looking at everybody else, and it's kind of negative and stuff like that. So
it's funny how she left Barbados thinking that it was such an enclosed environment, and then it comes to Canada, and in a few years Canada becomes the enclosed environment. Yeah. And now she's going back there, bringing you along and the girls, and to a better environment, right?
It definitely wasn't planned. Like we weren't at all planning on seeing that as a place to stay. Yes, acquire like an income property that we can always go to wherever we're in the world for the girls to go to, family, friends, like just go enjoy yourself. But we never really saw it as a place. And then for sure, it's easier for her to work there, but then how would I work there? And knowing that it's they don't quite pay the same there. The price point is less unless you have high-end clients or if you're working for a high-end builder, because usually they ship all that labor on the island. When they're done the job, they leave. That's typically how things would go.
But would you just set up a business there and not be a worker, but be the business owner to build there?
It's very competitive. It's all like relationships and networking and who knows who, because the island is only so big.
Yeah.
And logistics in terms of the material everything is shipped in, so you're limited. Like it's coming from China or Miami. It's all through the port. Then you get a little bit of maybe duty mix up or customs. Like it's the costs are unpredictable. It's not as go to the store and get it.
Not going to Home Depot. I know.
They do have some stores there. There's definitely suppliers, but for anything custom, you're not going to be dealing in the normal way. So it's really hard to establish anything like right away. You need to join, but it's also hot, so then I don't see myself working there on the tools.
But running the business.
Running the business,
Couldn't you just sell a project, put all the material that you possibly need in a sea can, have it shipped there, and then manage the project there, and now you're running the business?
Potentially, but knowing what I like, the business was here was set up to meet a certain target, and that was to kind of support my wife through our 5 year of the girls, because we got 2 daughters. Their first 5 years, so that my wife can take care of them, and then I take care of us. So now that it's complete, essentially, it was also to fuel getting the house, and then for me to build up a tool collection, because it's easier to do that through the corporation, but also to fuel further steps in terms of education and having some money to invest into the next part. I didn't realize that until after coming back from Europe recently, that was actually my direction. And then now that it's finished, there is no need to be in a type of business where I have the business, or I'm creating the business, or I'm in the front of it, because it's very time consuming. And then it's more at this period in life, it's more about being as a family together.
Yeah.
Being there for the girls for the next 10 years, whatever, as they're going through school, and spend that critical time doing our thing. And I guess the business is also to, what's that movie where there's a chef and he's like opening 1,000 oysters?
Oh, it's Burnt.
Burnt?
Yeah, Burnt with Bradley Cooper, where he has to open up 1,000. He has to shuck 1,000 oysters before he feels that he can go back and piss off more people. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So that one is almost, that's kind of like what it feels like. It's almost like it was having this business and making sure that I'm the only one and there's nobody else, and going through the pain and the process to almost educate myself, to put myself through these trials.
I know, but like
to kind of like know what I'm made from, and then I take that experience and join another large builder that have already everything established with the designers, architects, engineers, the clientele, the high end, to contribute to them with who I am and what I know.
So are you leaning more towards partnering or working with somebody, or
Yeah.
trying? Yeah, because it makes more sense. Then you can grow with them, because you're bringing this mindset from this area and European mindset to that area,
Yes.
where there's a lot of value there. And worst case scenario, if you need to get on the tools, you can get on the tools
Absolutely.
to catch up and get some stuff done.
Yeah, to
That's
educate,
value there.
to educate any local trades.
Yeah.
Because they don't have that kind of like detail and maybe the thinking. So me having that experience and great problem solving skills, I can greatly contribute. But also the real estate part of it is because I got my real estate license there to participate in the sale. So through my real estate investing network here in Canada, to also be the anchor for our community there, for anybody to invest in Barbados, and also for anybody that's in Barbados, if they're on the lower medium tier of investors, not the high-end guys already got all their stuff figured out, but to give them the ability to enter markets in Canada and US.
Part of it.
So then it's like a two-way street.
You
And
got the best of both worlds.
and through that mix, also get investors into. So by working for a high-end construction company, now I'm on the inside, already knowing everything and being able to launch or make these projects happen with already an existing relationship, and not just. I think since at the beginning I mentioned architecture, civil engineering, that kind of a thing. I thought of going back to school and kind of jumping into that, but then I saw it as a big waste of time.
Since 2015, Groove has been built off the foundation of experience, innovation, and the continued desire to evolve how work is done even after the trade has mastered it. The people at Groove have more than 40 years of experience in the drywall and construction industry. Their commitment to both the growth of the company and the individuals Groove simply calls clients is unparalleled. Their mission is to empower builders, designers, and architects with the freedom to build on their designs, to encompass creativity in all of their projects without sacrificing quality, efficiency, or affordability. They accomplish this by providing production-focused solutions and design workflows that allow builders to overcome their construction limitations through drywall. They see drywall in a different way. Innovate, inspiration, integrity. Groove Industries. Check out Groove Industries at www.grooveind.com and on social at GrooveIND, and reach out to them on their email, orders@grooveind.com or steve@grooveind.com and Andre J @grooveind.com. And also their phone number is 416-629-3756. I thought you're supposed to be finding time so then you can let your wife have more time for her and then you could be focusing on the girls, but yet you're adding more to your resume, your plate.
It's also Barbados, so they don't really work that hard.
It's Caribbean time.
It's cutoff time. They
this
finish.
is how it is. Europe's like that too-ish. You know what I mean? Kind of.
It's not definitely not like here when it's there's no like work late and work Saturdays, Sundays, and
no, that doesn't exist.
So there's lots of family time, but it will be definitely more on the management side and bringing and connecting all these relationships. But a certain passion is going to be in Barbados. It is to create more of a community building. So there is lots of vacant land, lots of infills, but there is a big need for just similar to here. As we need low-income housing. So Barbados has, they're pushing in that direction. They have projects that they're working on.
Government assisted?
Yes, there is, they want their citizens to own. It's a very surprising banking system there because they don't have much of a refinance and like using your
equity.
Yeah, like if you want they'll give you a second mortgage, but then you're not getting off of your. They want people to own because it's in the way that what we're experiencing here is like slavery in the way. Like you're getting the
not in a way it is.
You're getting the it's like here's your house, here's your this, but then you get consumer debt, and then
they want you to keep on owing.
Yeah, so you're
not owning.
You're it's like illusion of ownership, but then really. If the shit hits the fan, then it's like, well, now
then it becomes losing.
You give everything up. If hopefully you never get sick or you don't lose your job or things change, then you just end up, or if they change the interest rates and
So is everybody on board, including the girls? Everybody knows that this is the next stage in your family life, that this is what's going to happen?
It was a lot of back and forth.
Was there hesitation?
Mainly like the big transition, not as far as them. It's more about me for what I have created, like the upper level, the business.
Yeah, but that's all up here, isn't it?
I've invested a lot in tools, and I never really, and then like the house. So our second home, I got the second home just so I can have potentially set up a shop in the garage for the smaller things and projects, to store the tools, to have an office, for the girls to have play space, for a guest room for the family, like an actual, like finally have a home. So all the hard work that I've done to this point to actually have a home. Then I just got the van as like a year old. Finally got my van. Finally set it all up. I got my clients. It's starting to look into a partnership. So I switched to that phase of partnering up with somebody else to dive into larger projects that are, let's say, townhomes or multifamily. So you're trimming out. With a big crew,
you established like a system that you can just go in, and now we reap the rewards, right?
Yeah.
At that point. But why can't you just take all that and go there with it?
It's not.
It's not that simple.
It's not that at all. Like I can't take the van. I can't. The tools. I guess sure I can, but it's in different ways. It's not.
Find somebody here to sell what you have already built. Give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
That was a consideration or no?
Yeah, I've also thought about hybrid systems. So where I would, because I can make all my money in 6 months. So then I would be like back and forth, almost where like instead of going to Florida, I'd be going to Barbados. But then it splits the family, and
that's exactly what I was just about to say.
So
what you've been working on for wouldn't benefit.
To answer your question in terms of giving it to somebody else or having somebody take over, the current market is maybe that would have been the possibility, but then I did bid on some big jobs and it didn't come through. Like it would have been a 3-4 year kind of a process, and because it didn't come through, that was like the last sign to me that it's like this is it. Because then you only push in a certain direction for so long, and then when things are no longer like meant for you, and you should be looking in a different way, because that's what I go through life like feeling. So
I thought you're supposed to stick with it and keep on working on it, and it's supposed to happen.
That's what I did think, but when what's that saying is like, I wish the guy wish he had money or fortune, and then the guy's like, well, he never bought a lottery ticket. It's like there's definitely signs that I've worked on projects or even relationship or push certain things just to get them done, just because that's the way we're supposed to do it. It's like you said you're gonna do it, you're gonna stick with it, you're gonna follow through, and then boom, boom, boom. That's the way. It doesn't matter if like you're just squeezing the out of yourself to make just because you said. So then that was the kind of stuff I was working with. But at a certain point, there was a shift that happened, and there's a lot more currently paying attention to things as they line up for me. So very small details, almost like reading the person as when you talk sales. But these things pop up in terms of just life in general. And for me, everything, all these signs kind of point to Barbados. So Barbados is not only just for the family, but it's also the next step for me to evolve. So I've already became who I am. I've turned my passion into a business. I've put myself through the trials of all this, and I've supported my family. I've done everything. Everything is resolved, and now it's the next phase to transition myself from somebody that's working in the corner perfecting model building, let's say artistry, like fine tune, like it's just do your own thing in your own bubble, to becoming the team player, getting off the tools and be more the digital managing side, networking, communication, open the world, so to speak, and be in the front rather than hide. So, because it's when you become so efficient, you isolate yourself, and in a way, I found myself that I was trapped, because then I've built the business, I've built the house, I built like everything to be so good and controlled, to be so efficient that I've realized I've almost trapped myself.
Did you notice that, or did your wife notice that?
I've definitely noticed that, because it's to get out of it. So now, simply because of the position of they're in Barbados, and then we're the ideas are kind of coming as they come in terms of things unravel, and you're like, oh, maybe this or that, or it's all of a sudden it's becoming better that she has now a really good job because she switched jobs, and then she's making really good money, and then she opened her page on Instagram, and then now she's like educating content and teaching people. Her following is really growing now she's bringing clients to the studio. Now she's opened another business, and now she's selling other stuff. Now she's going through education and becoming like the top, or the only specialist is going to be on the island for a certain thing. So she's like expanding so well, and then there's no way. Plus the girls, I don't see them coming back here for as far as education and living in this environment, because it's really positive over there. So it's like now Canada it's like almost like a wall there. It's like I don't want them
disagreeing with you, man.
I don't see them coming back. So then for me to go to switch, it became apparent, like, why is it so hard? Like there's so much. It's like I'm anchored so hard into my position, which is a good thing. But in this case, unless that happened, I probably would have never realized that how, like, as a business owner, whenever you're in the position, how deeply anchored and rooted you are to where you are. It's like if you decided to shift to go to a different area of Canada, how easy would it, if you have a brick and mortar, if you have operations, employees, you can't like pick up and go.
It's difficult because you spend so much time and effort working on building a brand and getting it out there, but you also don't know, and you shouldn't know, what might potentially happen for the good or for the bad, right? If you go this other way.
So it's the unknown, and splitting yourself up doesn't quite work, which I try to do. And you're always achieving the best if you are 100%, 1,000% committed. If you're going to do something to be at the top, you have to be like 1,000% there with the relationships, the people, your time, every chance that you have to commit. Otherwise, there's no point. You'll end up losing, and that's what I was almost like both ends as far as. The business is no longer working well because I was traveling to Barbados, or if I was transition into the other edge, which is Wealth Genius, the real estate investing, multifamily, all that. So to lift myself up, to educate myself farther. But real estate was always the goal. It's just I needed to get to the next step. I needed to monetize my passion in order to fund my next step. It was the highest, best use at the time. But it's being now it's like almost the goal is to be flexible. I want to be able to sharpen myself, turn myself into a weapon rather than surround myself with tools, which I did with like 150,000 on hand tools and the 100,000.
Yeah, but you can sell those off and hand it off to somebody else, and you never know. Why not pull this off, establish it in Barbados, pull it off there, and once you do that, then you actually can go back home to your place in Europe and pull it off there as well. Why can't you do that?
I guess because that's not it would be a standard in terms of artisanship or passion for like a life contractor or carpenter. But I see myself as like it was just a stepping stone. Because I get that question is like, why don't you turn it? Why don't you create it, monetize it? Why don't you turn it into bigger?
Why don't you do this? Like, I mean, how many people do you know on the island are going through the exact same thing that you're about to go through, that you're currently working on going through?
Not really.
I don't think there's anybody like, and I noticed this from other people that started a new path. Why don't you start sharing your experience so then other contractors can consider it? I mean, I'm not talking about going to Barbados, but there might be somebody else that's probably going to other islands, other Caribbean islands, and they're maybe on the same fence as you, where you've got this established here, but you really want to go there for the sake of the family. Mm-hmm. So if you were to start sharing your path, it might connect with other people to understand what you've gone through, but they also might contribute as well. Because you're just going to learn a bunch of stuff on how to set it up.
It's mainly it's so tight it's really hard to get in because they're so protective.
The all-new Kohler home generator. The most powerful. The most durable. The most customizable. And the quietest home generator you can buy. When it counts, count on Kohler.
That one particular island. Well, a lot of them, yeah.
They're like the big, it's all inside trading, so to speak. Like who knows who, it's all relationships. So for you to get somewhere, you have to know somebody already. I do have the benefit because my wife is from there, so there was already some relationships that are helping me achieve stuff. But they're very protective of their piece of pie.
And she's using the social media for the dentistry?
Social media, she's using it, I guess she was trying to get into the digital marketing. So like, there was a creator that she was dealing with that was like phasing out of dental or something, who was a dental hygienist, but then now she manages the media for other dentist offices. That's her business. So then she did a course. My wife liked her, and then she was relating to her. So she took her thing and essentially set up her own page. And now her page has grown past the dentist office that she's working, who hired a professional crew to like manage that. So, but I mean, she's having fun with some of the things, and it is a lot of work as multimedia is. But she's been finding these little pieces that she sees opportunity in the market, whatever is like the thing. Taking all these little courses, just pushing to be in the front of it, like naturally.
But that's what I mean. It will help you as well too, because if you guys start making a lot of noise digitally, and then it kind of opens up doors there, because I'm sure that not a lot of people are opening up digital doors there.
Yeah.
Right.
I see myself being more in the front, where to create a change, to make a push, because in the community, so to create something different, and not just do infills or high ends, but also like basically build a community for low income housing.
Well, get the government on board, and maybe even sweeten the pie by saying you want to start a school.
It's all these things are.
There's a lot. There's a lot going on. No, so then you're just
no. As in, I'm already in play, and in some of these in these directions to make moves to contribute, as far as trying to get into the government somehow, to get somebody's ear and to contribute in whichever way I can. But mainly, I have to actually get there. So that's my hardest part, or my next steps, is to liquidate, get rid of everything. So sell my van, sell my tools, sell the house.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that want some DeWalt tools right now. You want to put an ad out?
I got almost a bit of everything. I never really went on that.
Who's? Here's a more important question. There on Barbados, what color is mostly used there? I don't think it's DeWalt, is it?
It was
Makita?
You'd be surprised, but yeah, Makita was the. I don't think I've seen DeWalt. I know guys use DeWalt because they ship it in, but there is Queeman. Queeman is like a local, one of the local hardware stores.
Okay, so they would carry,
or like Home Depot, but so there's Carter's and Queeman, and I was there recently. Before I didn't see any Milwaukee, but this time around I see Milwaukee came in. So they're selling their pack outs and all these tools. Makita was definitely on the shelf.
Yeah, I could totally see Makita being
but it's
there.
almost like triple the price. It's like ridiculous.
The flight from here to there is what? 5? No, 4 hours.
5 from Toronto. I wish I was in Toronto.
You got to go from Ottawa to Toronto to Barbados?
Yeah.
There's no direct from Ottawa to...
No. That's like a big... and it basically brings up the cost, so it's $200 more, at least. And then
plus the time.
Plus the time, it's an extra... You land here maybe 9 p.m. You leave here at 8 and you land at 9. But in order for me to go to Ottawa, sometimes the flight is at like 1 in the morning or 12. So then by the time I get... Like, it adds so much more to the trip. I wish there was a direct flight.
When did you start the wealth management side of things?
Wealth Genius.
Same time with the real estate?
Wealth Genius is like the largest, fastest growing real estate platform.
Okay.
But it's you actually take courses within the system, whatever direction you want to go through. Whether it's originally when I started, it was multifamily. Now there's multifamily US. Then there's short-term rental, wholesaling. I think they will have professional speaking or make money speaking, expert speaker style.
Really?
But I started that and I met Alfonso, the godfather of real estate, back in 2017 in the March 2017. And that's why I started the corporation, actually. Because it was the corporate structure and leverage is what I kind of picked up from that. And then since then, I was waiting till the time that I was able to have enough money. And then through, essentially, that's why the reason for the business is to fund my education for this period. And once I got our house, the second house, it became like time. It was like the time came that I was like, enough is enough of me working 6-7 days a week, almost not being home. And my wife also always like taking care of the girls, and not really being around. And it was time for that next phase, because it was always about real estate.
Since day one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because in the way, also how I build my business, the reason for the upper level finishes, targeting higher end clients, and let's say somebody's last home, to in the way after having those relationships, to have them as my next step, as my passive investors into whatever future projects.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. That's all it was. You were just connecting the dots and putting things together. That's all it was.
So it was a multi-level kind of like direction or funnel. So yeah, finally, after keeping contact with Alfonso, he eventually opened, when COVID happened, he opened his own thing, because he's an international speaker, and he is Canadian Youth Foundation is like a thing. So he educates financial education for young kids.
Is he Canadian?
He's from El Salvador.
Okay.
And he is Canadian, so he came to Canada with his mom. His daughter also has it's called the 610 project, so that one's tailored more towards the younger investors. So you can start as early as, I think, 16, 17. You go through that process, and then so there's a couple of guys or a couple of students that already have like apartment buildings at 18, 19.
It's a different generation for the ones that are actually opening up things up and just looking at opportunities, right?
You got a certificate at the end of this, and it's like you are educated through the system, through do it properly, and you have your passive investors and active investors, but ultimately it's a whole. The community is really good. Everybody's very supportive. That's like the main thing. So that was last 2022 in the fall is when I started joined the program, and that was like a big shift for me. It's slowly over time. It made me like question everything and rebuild myself, reinvent myself, and transition. There's like a big point I want to bring up is
Sure.
You probably know how your body changes like every 7 years, and then you get like all your cells change.
Yep. You
But
flush out.
yeah,
Yeah.
but there's the other part of it that there is also a big change as far as not just your body, but who you are, what you do. Because then now within your body, you have to also adapt and become that new person and transition. And I see it, knowing that, in a lot of my experience, a lot of big changes in my life have been every 7 years. And I've now like realized a pattern that is occurring, that in between the 7 years, you are in the perfection phase. So you've figured out whatever you're doing. So at the 7-year mark, you've transitioned. Hopefully you do realize that that's what's happening. So you shifted and you've become somebody else. You've entered a new level of, if you're still in the same field, you're in a new level. Or if you're totally like rip everything apart and then your whole total shift, but it's still something new. So between the 7 years, you're perfecting whatever you accepted. And as you come to the other end, you're now in the, like blow up the bubble, as in everything, all the pieces come apart as a puzzle. Now you're starting to pick the different, you're reevaluating yourself again for your next phase, because you're coming closer. And then you accept and enter your next phase. And then things become clear again, because now you're in the perfection process, and then you start again.
I get it.
So, in 7 years old, I guess everybody's in school. At 14 for me, that was coming to Canada. At 21 is when I got my car, and then the businesses, and that was like the big shift between either education or entering the business world. 28, I got married. So I met my wife, got married. That was a big shift. Quit smoking. That was like a hard one that I battled with forever. And then shortly after that, I guess, family, and then the business.
And now this.
Because I guess 28 is also when I accepted being more serious. So the van, like the van shift, meeting my wife, and that's when I actually put deposit down for the house. So that was like home ownership. So like 28, and then 35 was the current phase. So 36. So I was going through this about 2 years now. So 30, I already knew. So I started Wealth Genius. Then my wife switching to Barbados and going through this whole like testing period where everything is blowing up, and then trying to figure out and land on something specific. That's going to be my next focus. And now finally, ultimately making this decision, and now is going to be, you run with it for the next 7 years.
So you'll be in Moldova in 7 years.
Moldova?
Yeah.
No, probably not. I was just there, but
you never know.
I don't know if it's going to be more of maybe I'll transition from being in these custom home buildings, still in the building environment, to potentially something like totally different, whereas potentially unrelated and more.
You might even get into political in Barbados, right? Or contribute to.
It's kind of weird to hear that, because that's like a recent thing that those words kind of came up.
That might be a possibility
in previous conversations, and
you never know.
Definitely, that's probably going to be the next one. Yeah.
We got to wrap it up, but I want you to answer the 12 questions, and I wish you all the best. So they're living there right now, right?
Yeah.
And then you go visit them how often?
Last year I went 3 times, and then they
Okay.
came in the summer for 6 weeks. So I didn't see them since September, and then I recently came from Barbados for 2 weeks, and then my next trip is February 29th. I'm going for another 2 weeks for my next interview, and plus walkthroughs and setting up different things as I'm transitioning in between. So.
Is it just as easy to become a citizen there because you're married too, as it was for her to come here, or no?
Oh no, it's definitely, well, it is hard to become a citizen there because
This show is brought to you by Payne's Window Manufacturing. Window shopping revolutionized. Seeking top-tier windows? Look no further. Payne's Window Manufacturing is the ultimate choice for custom builders, contractors, and homeowners. Visit www.paynes.com now to experience the pinnacle of quality and customization. Get your instant custom quote today. Elevate excellence with us, plus enjoy nationwide shipping across Canada and the U.S.
when I was being sworn in, there was a wife, or not a wife, but a woman and her husband. Husband was already a citizen. It took her 18 years of like waiting. Some people get naturalized, like professionals show up and they open a practice, or they're just living there permanently. So maybe like 8 years, just the time it takes. For me, it was somewhat easy. So our girls for sure. They were super fast because there was a period that the government opened up the floodgates and they were like, we're approving everybody fast. They made it the system. I missed that one. And when I showed up, I hired a lawyer and then they had to go through. I had some issues with them translating my birth certificate from USSR because it was Russian. And they didn't have anybody on the island to translate my birth certificate.
But do you not have the Canadian? I guess it doesn't.
Yeah, Canadian passport.
Yeah,
But they just do their own.
They got to follow the whole. Okay.
They go through their own like rules and their own thing, their own process, and essentially there was a bit of a delay. But overall, it took me about a year, almost a year from the time that I showed up and applied with the lawyer, and then they appeal, and then finally it was accepted. And then there was like a government switch. With one retired, one.
And the process got to start all over again?
No, it was just a bit of a delay as they got comfortable, and then by the time when I showed up, I did it, so it was nice. I got my passport right away, and then later on, there's like an ID card you gotta get. So
kind of like Europe, it's the same thing.
So then I got that, and then finally it was. I'm fully set up now, basically.
Bottom line, whoever's listening, you got an opportunity if you have some sort of family tree that's connected to other places outside of where you currently are, whether that's Canadian or U.S., take advantage of it. Just start doing the paperwork now. You never know. And then have all this paperwork in place, right? I mean, I love that I have an EU. I have a Portuguese passport. I love that. Yeah. Like, it's just, you don't know where you potentially might go in life, right?
Because you gotta live and enjoy life. Shouldn't live. Don't wait. Don't limit yourself. Go have some fun.
You ready?
Sure.
Go have lots of fun. What's your favorite construction word?
It's interesting.
You don't have a favorite construction word?
Upper level.
What?
Upper level, I guess.
Upper level. That works. What's your least favorite tool?
Least favorite tool.
I thought you told me it was the multi-tool, wasn't it?
Multi-tool. No, a multi-tool is actually pretty useful.
It's just noisy. If it's DeWalt.
DeWalt table saw.
DeWalt table saw?
No, the cordless one keeps. It's like the thing doesn't go up. So
The crank on the really?
So you have to like flip it upside down, and then you turn it with the gravity, it drops, and then flip it back upside down.
Oh, that's nice to hear. What construction sound do you love?
I think like a molder, like a mill machine. When you stick it in, and then
you hear it,
and then you hear like how it's cutting, how every chip like.
You hear all those chips. That's actually a nice sound. What's your favorite beverage?
Either cognac or gin tonic.
What turns you on and off in construction?
The worst is probably chasing the payment.
Chasing money. I know.
This kind of destroys it. And the best, I guess, when you're so fine-tuned in your process, and then when you turn a project into something that's like almost like a piece of you is left behind. When you stand back and it's not just a view, but it's like a feeling, an aura. Like you just,
it gives new meaning to you. You had a hand in that.
It like resonates. Like it's like a warm feeling when you. It's like you left a piece of you here. You know?
I like that.
That's the best one.
What's your favorite curse word?
I guess fuck. I don't know.
What's your favorite vehicle? Anything, any mode of transportation.
I like the one I drive now. It's the Audi A3 hatchback. It's a 09. Surprisingly, it's like small and enough engine power in it to really.
It's still a 4, right?
Say again?
It's a 4-cylinder, I think.
Yeah. 2-liter turbo.
They're nice. What do you miss from your childhood?
I guess some of the best times were whenever, because it was a big family, so we had one of great uncle. He would be like more of a businessman, entrepreneur. And one of the things that he did have was he bought a lake from maybe ordered or leased it, but
He bought a lake.
yeah.
Okay.
There's lots of lakes in Moldova. So he bought a lake from this municipality or like a little village from their governing body, and essentially turned it into a fish farm. So he would have the fish in there, and then he'd have the guys on site that would feed the fish.
Breed it.
And I'm not sure how he collected that, but we would have events at this lake where the whole family would show up, and then would be like fishing, and then get the crayfish out of the water, make the stew, shoot some shotguns or rifles at some cans, just some nice barbecue, shashlik or shish kebab. And the family is relatively large, so it was like 50 plus people. So it was, I guess you have the kids playing around, you go on the boat, rowing. So that kind of, you go swimming off the dock. None of this, I guess, turquoise, sandy beaches. It's all like mud where you feel the mud kind of come between your toes and stuff, and hopefully you don't step on a mussel or something. But
what profession other than your own would you like to attempt one day? You're already juggling a lot, man.
I was, if it was hands-on, it was electrical. Was something that I was attempting to get into when I started the company, Upperlevelfinishes. I actually went to Algonquin for the basic electrical, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And I was trying to take a little bit of that just to expand my knowledge and skill to be better. But definitely would have that would have been the alternative as far as a pro trade electrician.
What do you want, don't want to do?
What I want and don't want to do?
No, what you want. What profession would you not want to do?
Oh. Probably a roofer. I don't know.
Especially in the dead of winter. Last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at those pearly gates?
You're not done yet. Go back.
Thanks so much, man, for making the time coming to the show. I know it was a little bit of a trek and you were tired and you got a lot going on. And A lot of interesting things. We'll get you back on the show in 7 years to see where everything's at. Nah, we'll get you back on the show sooner. I'll remote you in, man, from Barbados once you get all established there, and you could let everybody know what's happening, man.
Yeah, that's gonna be a very good.
It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah,
it's gonna be amazing.
So much opportunity. Yes, that's the place. That's the place for sure. Lots of requests on that one. Maybe there will be some of the trades might show up there. From
Why not?
The guys that I'm already talking to, a few.
Why not?
If there's always the demand for high end, and once I'm in, for sure, if there's opportunities to bring somebody in,
then do it.
I'll definitely take it.
Invite them down. So you give me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you very
It's been a
much.
pleasure finally to meet and chat and talk and have you on the show. So I wish you all the best and say hello to the family, and I'm so glad that they're happy down there and they're working.
Yes.
And it's all working out, and I know you got a lot of stuff going on.
It's exciting. That's the way I live my life.
Keep it posted. Keep me posted, man. Keep me posted. That's it. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
We're out here, Angela.